Floating village in Cambodia is incredible that people still living there and they do business. And children also go to school in the floating village. They build floating schools. And if they go to middle school and high school, they have to go to the real village. So in the floating village, they don't have secondary school. They have only primary school and preschool. So all these houses built on stilts and some of them built on the water. I mean, they are real floating houses. And here we bring you to visit Kompong Klang. It's one of the most beautiful floating village in whole Cambodia. And here it means you go there, you go to visit the floating village. It doesn't mean you go to see floating markets and no business right there, and you go to see how to make living on the floating village, because it is very, very good experience to come here to compare your life and life of the people in the floating village. It's so much different. When you look at them, they look very poor, but I think they happy, and you look at them, they smile at you, and I would allow to say Cambodians are the most friendly people in the world. That's why when American government decided to bomb in Cambodia, sometimes the Congress tried to stop them. Like they asked, why do you want to bomb in a smiling country? And after Khmer Rouge, a lot of reporters tried to come by to Cambodia to visit the country. It doesn't change so much. I mean, people still kept smiling at the foreigners, and they allowed to see them. It's amazing. Sometimes they cannot speak English to the foreigners, but they give beautiful smiling face to the people or strangers. So the people in Cambodia are allowed to smile at the stranger, and they're allowed to connect with the strangers, and they don't mind. We can say Cambodians are different to Japanese and Koreans, that they don't like to smile at the stranger. Here, when we go through these canals, please make sure this is a canal. It's a man-made lake. It's made 1,000 years ago. Some people believe that it was dug under the time of King Jayavarman II. He ruled the country from 780 or 90, and he was dead in 850 in Rolus. That's the ancient capital city of Cambodia. And we're not quite sure about the purpose of the king that he made this canal. Sometimes people say he made it in order to transfer sandstone down to Angkor, but it's verified. It's about like 100 kilometers long, and it can be not quite sure. I can say it's not true. And for some scholars, they still say like it's used for transporting the sandstone to build temple in Angkor. And now we come by to the floating village. Here you see floating houses, and they put lots of fridge. I mean the cold box to keep fish very fresh, and they bring fish to the markets. And some fish, for example, snakehead fish from the lake is very popular. When they're big, they can be more expensive than the small one. Because for fish, when they're bigger, they're tastier and they very, very nice. So here, most of the people are fishermen. And in a whole Cambodia, we have more than 200,000 fishermen, and they catch a lot of fish, about 300 million tons for sale. And people in this village, they specialize in making something like fish paste, dry fish, and smoked fish. So for smoked fish, it's nice, and we can eat them with the fish sauce. It's nice. It's very, very good. I can say it tastes so good for local people. And you learn from the old day. For example, 1,000 years ago, we exported our fish paste, dry fish, and smoked fish to sell to a city in north of Bangkok, and they travel along the highway leading from Angkor to Pi Mai, and we sold fish to the people who live in Pi Mai. And we brought salt from there to use in Angkor. So salt used to be the most important business for so many countries. For example, in China, that business controlled by the government. So the king and the government control salt business. It's very important for every country in the old day. So in Cambodia, we produce salt from mines in northern Bangkok in the present day. Thailand used to be part of Cambodia by then. And we didn't take salt from south of the country, so we produce salt from the salt mine. And here we see real floating houses. And they just move those houses from the lake because the real lake, the regular lake in dry season, it's very small. It's only 3,000 square kilometers, but in rainy season, it's 15,000 square kilometers. So it's in the central point of the lake. It is from 1 meter deep, and it enlarged itself to be 15 meter high. So the water is huge. If you come here before 2015, you can see a lot of floods around Cambodia. Sometimes the main road in Siem Reap's under the water. So they were because the water too much. And some parts of the highways leading from Siem Reap to Phnom Penh also under the water. That's why people say, wow, it's damaged, our country a lot. Sometimes we lose, for example, like 300 million US dollars to our infrastructure because the water is too much, rains too much, so the rainwater can damage everything in the country. It's very important to make all the canals to drain the water away from Siem Reap. And thanks to the government that tried to help the people to drain the water away from the city. And now they made like Siem Reap River bigger and lots of canals. And they try to restore barrages, like Western barrage and Northern barrage. Now they have water to support temple moats. So around the moat, you see the temple, they use the water from water reservoir to support. And here we're getting very close to the lake, and it looks fantastic. When you get to the lake, it's brilliant. It's too big. It's like your freshwater sea. When Jew came here, he's also called the lake freshwater sea. It's not a lake because he could not see another size of the lake. So it's Jewish. That's why we learned that it produces so many tons of fish for all Cambodian people. We always talk a lot about Tonle Sap Lake, like it gives us lots of protein. For example, fish, snakes, and we also produce a lot of rice around the lake in the dry season because around the lake there are so many little rivers. So when the people live nearby the river, they can drain water from the river to support rice paddy field in the dry season. And that's why they can produce rice at least 2 times a year when they live around this lake. And you go back to 13th century when Judah Kwan came, he saw people harvesting rice around the lake. And that's very modern that we could produce rice in Angkorian times. We believe that we harvest for 3 times a year, and it's fantastic. So Cambodians learn how to manage water, like water management in Angkor. It's very good and they're smart. And we can say water management is in the brain of Cambodian people all the time because we started to manage the water around 1st century when the capital city was called Nakhon Phanom, and they learned how to manage the water already by then. In rainy season, people are easy to travel around the village, and that's why we say they have boats for every family. So one family has at least one boat. Thank you very much for paying attention.